What's going on? Ed here from ClicksGeek, and today I've got something special for you guys today. As you guys know, we've been expanding the channel, talking more about just digital marketing, expanding into the greater realm of business and all things you guys need to know to operate your business effectively. So I scoured the world and found a subject matter expert on human resources for small business owners. Chris, welcome to the show.
Ed, I can't tell you how grateful I am to be on ClicksGeek. I think I'm one of your original YouTube subscribers. For you to call me an expert, I'm so humbled. Can't thank you enough for having me on your channel. Really looking forward to this conversation. Again, I'm Chris with PEO Metrics. We're a PEO broker. So essentially what we do is we have relationships with over 100 different PEOs. And we help small businesses outsource their very challenging human resources issues that tend to bubble up, really distract them from their core competencies. We do this, it's a free service. We compare, 5 to 8 different PEOs, depending on the size of the company, the industry that the different company is in. We help them save time, and ultimately we have access to wholesale pricing. So we help them save money as they look to outsource these distracting and challenging HR issues that they experience.
Got it. Okay. So I understand the concept of brokers from the mortgage space and insurance,
Sure.
where you maintain the relationship and can negotiate on a client's behalf, and then
Sure.
are typically commissioned on the back end. But for those that don't understand what a PEO is, what is PEO? What is
Yeah, great question. Great. I
business?
kind of jumped the gun. I got a little excited. I'm here on ClicksGeek, but definitely a great question. What is a PEO? We have so many 3-letter acronyms in the business world. I have to admit, when I first heard PEO, I had no idea what it meant. Okay, so a PEO, it stands for Professional Employer Organization. And essentially what that is it's a company that provides comprehensive HR solutions to businesses. Okay, so a PEO bundles its offerings for a business. Okay, when we're talking about business, we're talking about small businesses, businesses that range in size from 5 employees to around 500 employees. And what they bundle is their payroll processing, the benefits administration, the compliance management, the risk management, and then really they become your liaison for your day-to-day HR administration. Okay, so it allows you to really outsource your challenging HR tasks. You can streamline your HR operations, reduce your administrative burdens. And what you actually get access to is expertise and resources you would not normally have inside of your small business. When we look at businesses that work with PEOs, because these challenging issues are now off their plates, they're able to focus on their core competencies and their customers. Small businesses that work with a PEO grow 7 to 9% faster, with 10 to 14% lower turnover, and are 50% less likely to go out of business. So PEOs allow small businesses the opportunity to take those challenging HR related tasks, bundle them into one competitive offering, really save money, right? Because you are bundling that, so there's value there.
Sure.
When you partner with a PEO, when a business partners with a PEO, they enter into a co-employment relationship. And so, today your business has 50 employees, for example, and you partner with a company like ADP Total Source, for example. They have over 700,000 worksite employees in their network. So when you're going for benefits or you're going for workers' comp coverage, you're not going to market as a 50-person employee group. You're going to market now as a 700,000 plus employee group. So you're going to save significantly on your costs of benefits and workers' compensation. NAPEO is a national association of PEOs, and they believe that just in cost savings alone, working with a PEO saves you about 28% in your overall HR costs by outsourcing these various tasks to a PEO and benefiting from their economies of scale.
Interesting. I would imagine also the quality of the benefits is significantly higher at the group buying level than it is at the individual company level as well.
Absolutely great point there. Essentially, what you get is because now you're part of a 700,000 employee pool, that's a Fortune 500 size organization, right? So now you have access to Fortune 500 level benefits, right? So, obviously, gold and platinum level medical plans, retirement plans, and other perks. I mean, you're even going to get discounts at big box retailers, right? Like you would at a Fortune 500 organization, right?
Got
And they don't just manage enrollment. The PEO actually administer those plans, and they handle all employee inquiries related to those benefits. But yes, absolutely, to answer your question, not only are you going to pay less for benefits, you're going to unlock access to significantly greater benefits. So I talked a little bit about reduction in turnover, right? This is a huge retention and attracting top talent tool that small businesses struggle with when
it.
they're, competing against large established Fortune 500 companies for talent, right? Is they don't necessarily have those added benefits to pull in that talent. They often have to pay more for that talent. Well, when you partner with a PEO, that's built in, right? You have those Fortune 500 level benefits that really do allow you to attract and retain that top talent that's so critical for your business's growth.
Got it. Okay. So you mentioned something earlier that I just wanted to clarify on because it could definitely be confusing. You mentioned ADP. Most people think of ADP as the payroll processor.
That's right. Yeah.
Is that different than?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Walk me through
Yeah.
that.
So ADP is the US's largest payroll processor, right? And so you think about that. You can go to ADP and just have them do your payroll for a fee. Okay. So there are ASOs out there. They will offer you administrative services for a fee. But ADP realized that this full service offering is definitely something that they should consider and they should offer to their clients. And they grew to become the largest PEO in the market. So they do offer this full service HR outsourcing to their clients. It's called ADP Total Source. Okay. And not only do you benefit from that best-in-class payroll processing or, top 3 payroll processing, but you also benefit from the scale of their benefits administration plan, risk management, compliance management, and day-to-day HR administration that they also offer. So it is different, but you do unlock the benefits of those plans. But like if you were to go and just hire ADP to do your payroll, you're paying for payroll service, right? If you bring in ADP to be your full service PEO provider, you're bundling payroll into that offering. And through the savings on your workers' comp and benefits administration, you're actually going to save versus going out to market and buying all those services separately.
Interesting. Okay. I'm going to make a note because I want to touch on workers' comp here in a little bit, but you brought up an interesting point about ASOs. So what is the difference between an ASO and say a PEO? You touched on it briefly, but could you, like, we use Gusto and ClickSgeek.
Yeah.
It's an ASO. So can you kind of
Sure.
walk through, we could get benefits through Gusto versus
Correct.
PEO. Can you kind of walk through what that looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. So an ASO, they primarily offer HR support and administrative services to businesses for a fee. Okay. So each different piece of the PEO bundle,
Yep.
you're going to purchase through like a Gusto. Okay. They typically offer a range of services like payroll processing, benefits administration. They'll also help you with HR compliance assistance, risk management. They'll sometimes even offer you assistance with recruitment and training. And what happens in that model is there is no co-employment model. So when you use your ASO to go get your benefits, you're still going to market as a 50 employee business in the example we used previously, right? So you're not benefiting from the scale of the PEO. So that's the major difference, is you're going to go with an ASO and you're going to go piecemeal, pick and choose, and you're going to pay for each of the different services that the ASO has to offer. But you're still going to be your 50 person or 100 or 200 person business as you go for your benefits administration or workers' comp insurance. You're still going to be seen as that small business, and you're going to pay significantly more because that's more risk for those providers. If you were to partner with a PEO, all of those services are bundled and you're benefiting from that economy of scale now. Now you're a 700,000 person business, saving significantly on your workers' compensation and benefits administration, and having all of those different offerings that the ASOs offered bundled into your PEO offering.
Got it. Okay. So you said now you're a 700,000 person company. Walk through like the idea of co-employment. Can you kind of talk more about what that is, and like if something happens HR wise, is the HR from there talking to them? Like walk through like what that looks like.
Yeah, so Ed, great question. Okay, in the PEO model, there are some shared responsibilities, and then there are some pretty clear distinctions of who's responsible for what. Okay, so as we talk about this shared model, co-employment, the business is able to outsource many administrative and HR tasks to the PEO, but the business retains control over day-to-day operations and management of the employees. So let's get into the responsibilities of the PEO. Okay. The PEO handles payroll administration. Okay, so payroll, withholding and remitting payroll taxes, issuing W-2 forms. The PEO handles employee benefits and benefits administration. They handle compliance. Okay, so compliance with federal, state, and local employment laws and regulations. The PEO handles risk management. So they also do safety training. They provide resources for that training. They administer unemployment insurance, and they offer guidance on workplace safety and compliance issue. They also deal with employee relations, so they can assist the business with employee handbooks and policies, and they provide support for conflict resolution and disciplinary actions. Okay, so if you're having an issue with a staff member, the PEO can be there to support you with conflict resolution. Okay, and they really do have that expertise and advice. If the business has a question, you can call on the PEO, and they are the experts in the room. Now, the responsibilities of the business, your core business operations, right? Managing your day-to-day operations, making decisions related to your products, services, and strategic direction, 100% stays within control of the business, okay? And as far as management of employees, like directing and supervising employees, setting work schedules, job duties, performance expectations, hiring and firing decisions, that all stays in the business. And, you know, the work environment, the culture that you create, ensuring a safe and compliant workforce, a productive and positive environment for your teammates, that all stays within the business. So the PEO takes on most of the administrative and compliance related tasks. The business retains control over its core functions and employee management. This model ensures that both parties collaborate and really optimize your HR practices. You reduce your administrative burdens, and you maintain compliance with employment law. So that's really how it works, Ed, when you think about this co-employment relationship. But really, the biggest benefit and the reason why this exists is, I don't want to call it a hack, right? But really this ability to leverage the size and economies of scale of the PEO to really drive the cost savings on your workers' compensation insurance and your benefits administration, but also leverage their expertise. Like this is what they do all day, every day. Just like a small business that's focused on junk removal, for example, that's their core competency, that's their expertise, right? So you really allow your business to stay in your lane, focus on your core competency, bring the expertise that you wouldn't have, Fortune 500 level expertise you wouldn't have in your small business in. And we've really seen it become a great marriage with the businesses and clients that we've partnered with.
Got it. One thing you said offline to me was that some absurdly high number as a percentage of companies that are using PEO grow year over year. Can you talk about that and like what that looks like? It blew me away that I guess maybe it's that the business owners are forward thinking and they're thinking like that. But can you talk about like how effective it is at growing companies?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talk about this ability to kind of put your blinders on and focus on your core competencies, focus on your customer, right? There is like all trades have an association. The PEO group does too. It's NAPEO, and every year they come out with data. They compare businesses that are partnered with a PEO to businesses that are not partnered with a PEO. And on average, small businesses that work with a PEO grow 7 to 9% faster, with 10 to 14% lower turnover, and are 50% less likely to go out of business. And think about that. 50% less likely to go out of business, because you're able to outsource these challenging, distracting HR tasks that endlessly bubble up as you're trying to grow your business to the experts who are going to solve those problems for you while you're focused on your core competency. I love this statistic, Ed, I'm going to share with you. If you think about one of the most challenging years for small businesses, and hopefully it's in most people's rear view, but I think everyone still has the scars, at least every small business owner that survived COVID, right? Think about 2020, when it was literally illegal in some states to show up to your small business while big box retailers on every street corner were open, right? In 2020, one of the most challenging years for small businesses, with the most insane HR related issues. I mean, you want to talk about testing your ability to navigate HR tasks with your people through COVID. I mean, this was the biggest challenge of all. This statistic blows my mind. 69% of all small businesses in the PEO model grew in 2020 versus 28% of all small businesses overall. Okay, so it was significantly greater, because in the businesses that were partnered with a PEO were able to truly stay focused on survival, focusing on their customer, focusing on their core competencies. When an issue that they hadn't dealt with bubbled up, or a COVID related challenge or an HR issue popped up, PEO, help me work through this. Talk to this person, help me navigate this challenging task, right? And I mean, that statistic speaks for itself, the value that these experts in the HR space bring. I mean, that to me was truly telling.
Got it. Okay. So I feel like we've been on a run of like all the good shit PEOs can do.
Yeah.
Pros. What are some cons of working with or problems and issues working with a PEO?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's really important that if you're thinking about working with a PEO, that you really know your business really well. You really know what you're looking for. You really have your house in order before you move into a PEO. I think one of the things that we're really good at is intaking a business, understanding what your needs, challenges, and concerns are, specifically from an HR perspective, looking at the size of your business and the industry you're in. Look, there's over 500 PEOs that exist today. We have relationships with over 100 of them. So in a sense, we really play matchmaker, right? Some of our business are businesses thinking about moving into PEOs for the first time, but a large portion of our business are clients that are in a PEO and are experiencing issues, right? Challenges with that PEO, because I don't think they did the due diligence on the front end, or they worked with a salesperson, they were sold, a mighty good, offering, and they were plugged into something that didn't really fit their business's needs, right? So, first and foremost, I think inflexible services, right? Look, there are some market share leaders in this space, and they do a great job. They're big for a reason, but sometimes we hear that they don't provide customizable solutions tailored to the specific needs of their clients, right? And that the clients feel like they're forced into rigid plans that don't meet their business's specific requirements, right? Sometimes with any PEO, I mean, you want to make sure that you have dedicated staff to support your business, because we've heard of poor customer service or long wait times to get their PEO representative on the phone. We hear these complaints directly from our clients, so we kind of know who can have longer wait times, who doesn't, who provides you this dedicated resource, right? So we can help navigate to the right PEO. I think the other one is lack of transparency. We know when most of the PEOs send out their renewals, because that's when our leads pour in, right? Because there's this perceived lack of transparency from a lot of our clients with the PEO that they do business with. They'll go in on year one low rate, right? Like they feel like they got a online coupon for year one, or the cable model, DirecTV, sign up for 4 years. The first year is $89, the second year is $229, but now you're locked in, right? Is where you see this renewal comes, and it's breathtaking sometimes, right? And so they feel like they've been bamboozled, or they feel like they've been, suckered into this arrangement, and now they've integrated into this system and they're tied to it, and now their fees go up exponentially. I think the benefit of partnering with PEO Metrics is when we go through this process, we bring a very engaged, interested client forward. We essentially remove the cost of customer acquisition from the PEO's model. We remove the salesperson from the equation for the PEO. They know when we bring a client forward that we're not just bringing them to one PEO. They know our process is comparing the costs and services across at least 5, oftentimes 8 different PEOs, depending on the client's business. So they know that in order to win the business, they have to sharpen the pencil. And they know that we encourage our clients to shop a PEO every 1 to 2 years to keep the costs down, keep the benefits high, and keep everyone honest, right? I think you should shop every 1 to 2 years. So our clients don't see these massive renewal fees every year. And if they do, the PEO knows that we're going to go through this process again, and we're going to continue to have the small businesses back, right, to lower their costs while bringing them the best possible service for their business. So those are just a handful of the challenges that we see. Look, if I'd say the biggest one, aside from the cost piece, is that poor customer service or employee complaints. And that does really center a lot around, I'm waiting on hold a half hour to 45 minutes to an hour just trying to get somebody on the phone to answer this question. I used to have Sally in HR that I used to grab by the water cooler anytime something bubbled up. I don't want you to think like that PEOs replace Sally, right? Because a lot of businesses keep Sally. Sally becomes now the liaison. She can be more efficient with her time, do more as a liaison between the PEO and the business. But that I think is probably the most challenging issue. I mean, I miss my flight, or my flight's delayed, and I'm waiting on hold with Delta for 45 minutes. It's a horrible experience, right? That one tends to bubble up to be one of the most challenging issues that our clients raise. But I can tell you, we know the PEOs that give you a dedicated resource. You get a cell phone number for your specific HR counterpart, and you can get them on the phone, you text them, you get a hold of them instantly. So, if we want to understand what's important to the business, that's the stack rank, that's the intake that we do. Yep. We'll take you to those PEOs that we know will meet your needs, and they won't bring you, insane renewal fees at the end of year 1 or year 2, et cetera. And we'll continue to work with our clients all the way through that process.
Got it. Okay. Talk to me about something that when I first learned about this, I was a little concerned about, was the idea of when I work with a provider for payroll, I'm still technically responsible as a company for those payroll taxes to be remitted on time, without penalty, without issue, all that stuff. Is there like a certification process?
Great question.
What that looks like.
When you partner with a PEO, all of your wildest dreams will come true from that perspective, right? Listen, that's a real concern, right? And so in 2014, the IRS created a PEO certification program, which really codified PEOs within the tax code. Now, it's a voluntary program. Not all PEOs are IRS certified. That's another thing that businesses need to understand. If you're thinking about partnering with a PEO, you need to know whether or not they're IRS certified, because less than 10% are IRS certified. There's over 500 PEOs. That means less than 50 are IRS certified. Okay. Now, let me tell you why it's important. Certified PEOs are responsible for the payment of federal employment taxes. Okay. If you use a non-certified PEO and they don't pay those taxes, the business could be held liable for unpaid federal employment taxes or late penalties or interest related to that. Okay. But this certification program requires a certified PEO to post a bond each year of up to $1 million guaranteeing the payment of the federal employment tax liabilities. Okay. So, if you partner with a certified PEO, they're bonded, they're responsible, and they're required to pay your federal employment tax. So look, that lends credibility, that lends trust, and honestly, it gives the PEOs that are IRS certified, a real competitive advantage in the market, right? If I'm a business, I want to sleep easy. Like, I want to know that this PEO, number one, if it goes out of business, I'm not going to have to worry, like, did they pay my taxes, right? They're bonded if they're certified, right? That tax is going to be paid. That if they don't, for some reason, that I'm not responsible or liable for interest and penalties or that fee, right? The certified PEO is. Again, it's not required, it's voluntary. Less than 10% of PEOs have gone through this process to date. We know who the certified PEOs are, and if that's important to you, which, for most companies it is, we can point you in the right direction of that IRS certified PEO. But that's a great question. We don't always get asked that question. We always educate our clients on that. And it's interesting how often that box gets checked that says IRS certified only, right? Because, if for some reason it doesn't work out with a PEO, again, a lot of competition in this market over 500, you just want to know that those taxes will be paid on your behalf.
Absolutely. Okay. You've alluded to it throughout the course of the interview, but can you go into specifics on what a PEO broker does, and kind of how the process works?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially what we do is we work with small business clients ranging in size from 5 employees to 500 employees that are looking to take advantage of a PEO's offering, right? And if a business were to go direct to negotiate with a PEO, they would have to go through a process working with a salesperson at a PEO of really describing what their needs are, learning about that PEO, and then providing a series of documents specifically to that PEO. They might need to spend 3 to 5 hours with that PEO before they understand that PEO's full offering, the benefits that they have to offer, see the plans that they have to offer, understand whether or not they're IRS certified, and see pricing. It might take you 3 to 5 hours, right? Our process is different in that we do an intake. It's normally about a half hour, 45 minutes, understand what's important to your business through this process. We do ask for some documents like an employee census, recent benefits renewal, etc. And we decide based on what's important to the businesses which 5 to 8 PEOs we want to send out to RFP, right? Request for pricing and programming. It takes about 1 to 2 weeks, and we hear back from the different PEOs that we see. And we're able to present a side-by-side comparison of all costs and plans, benefits plans for all the different PEOs. So it takes you it should take no more than an hour between the conversation and the document gathering for us to have everything that we need to run our process, okay? We'll do a sit down with you to present to you what it looks like with the various different PEOs. And then the small business owner likely sees savings, significant savings, because one of the things about our offering is the volume that we drive with the PEOs and the competitive bidding process that the PEOs know we have. We really have access to wholesale pricing across the board. So our clients save significantly. We say 80 to 90% on their time right? Because if you were to go to try to get bids like this from 5 to 8 different PEOs, you're spending probably 40 man hours of your time, 40 hours of your time to pull that all together. We'll do it for you in about an hour, maybe 90 minutes of conversation and documentation. And then we're going to save you 30 to 40% on the costs versus working directly with the PEOs. So you're going to save time, you're going to save money with that process. Again, we have relationships with over 100 different PEOs. Our process to the client is completely free. Like if you decide once you see the comparison, even once you interview the PEOs that this isn't for you, or you go all the way down the process to selection of a PEO and decide, you know what, we're going to stick with our current process. No harm, no foul, completely free. When you get your renewal next year, let's have another conversation. Let's do it again, right? Ultimately, if you get your comparison from us, we encourage you to pick three. Pick 3 different PEOs and interview them like you would the incumbent CEO, right? Because this business is going to have a very close relationship and touch every single employee in your organization, right? So you want to know that it's the right fit for you. We can facilitate those interviews for you, spend an hour to 90 minutes understanding, what technology they have to offer. Because what's great about the PEOs, and we haven't really talked about, Ed, is you're modernizing your HR. You're bringing all of your HR into one easy platform. Most of the PEOs have an app-based solution where your employees can do time and attendance tracking. Employers can as well. You can see your pay stubs, your W-2, your benefits, all in one easy-to-use application, right? So they will demonstrate that to our clients. You'll maybe even meet your dedicated HR individual who will be this person that you'll be partnered with throughout the life cycle of your contract with that PEO. And then ultimately, if you decide to partner, you go through the integration process. And we do provide integration support. We don't just say, thanks for your business, see you later. We provide integration support and then obviously support with your renewals. So as you get your renewals through your PEO, certainly welcome a conversation to understand the cost structure, whether or not it's in line with industry averages year over year, and deciding whether or not we should go through the process that following year of again, comparing PEO offerings, right? And we want to make sure that this is the right partner, first and foremost, that it's a fit for the business before you enter into that relationship. And so, that's our process. That's what PEO Metrics, what we do. And that's essentially what a PEO broker is. You likened it to insurance before. I think the difference is, if I go to an independent insurance broker and I'm looking for homeowners insurance, they'll just send me a bunch of quotes, right?
Sure.
They're not really, and maybe the good ones are, right? Sitting you down and talking to you about the benefits of the different insurance companies, et cetera. I mean, we will do that entire process. We will share with you the feedback that our clients give us, what we know about the service levels, et cetera, of all of the different PEOs that we believe would be a good fit for the small businesses that become our clients and that we have relationships with. And all through this process, the client doesn't pay us, right? Ultimately, because the PEO doesn't have the cost of customer acquisition because there's no salesperson involved, they pay us when the client decides to partner with them. But like I said, the client has saved significantly from a time perspective and saved significantly from a cost savings perspective, somewhere in the 30 to 40% range versus shopping a PEO directly. But also just moving into a PEO model drives cost savings versus current piecemeal ASO type offering. Does that answer your question, Ed?
It does. I have 2 more questions before we wrap up. One is just out of curiosity, who are the biggest PEOs in the country? Just like if you can name a handful of them. Just curious. You mentioned ADP earlier. Who else is out there?
Yeah. So look, there's a lot of acquisition venture interest in PEO. There's a lot of that going on. There's a company called Venture, Vensure. They're based in Chandler, Arizona. Kind of hard to get exact numbers, but rumblings are they're up over 1 million worksite employees, at 1 million worksite employees. So there's rumors out there, the largest current PEO, but that's mostly through acquisition. We've talked about ADP Total Source. They're based in Miami. They're around 700,000 worksite employees. You guys have all heard, just like ADP, you've heard of Paychex, right? They're the other payroll service provider out there. They have an offering called Paychex Flex, but they recently acquired a pretty big PEO called Oasis HR. They're based in West Palm Beach, Florida. Combined, they have over 500,000 worksite employees. There's a big one in Dublin, California, TriNet, mostly in the tech space. That's really where they focus. But they have almost 400,000 worksite employees. And then there's some, pretty big privately held, probably the largest privately held PEO is G&A Partners. They're based out of Texas. They have 100,000 worksite employees. But there's a couple big ones that are just getting on the scene. You've probably seen billboards for them. I see them at airports and tech hubs. Rippling, relatively new PEO. They were founded in 2016 in San Francisco. Deal, DEEL, even newer, founded in 2019, also in San Francisco. They're really gaining a lot of ground. Listen, this PEO model is growing. It's expanding, Ed. So we are seeing a lot more interest. I mentioned over 523 exist today. But if you think about the size of the market, over 4.5 million worksite employees are currently in the PEO model. That's over 208,000 small and medium-sized businesses. So that's 17% of all businesses that employ between 10 and 99 employees. But that's expected to double in size by 2028. So this really is becoming an intriguing, interesting offering for small businesses, right? And so what do they say? During the gold rush, don't sell gold, sell pickaxes. I mean, there is a rush on PEOs. We are seeing a lot more interest, a lot more involvement in this PEO model. And so we're seeing some new entrants really gain popularity pretty fast. And they're offering custom tailored solutions. They're recognizing some of the challenges that the big existing behemoths in the space have, and they're taking advantage of those and gaining traction quickly.
Got it. I feel like you missed your calling and that you should have been a baseball statistician because you're coming with these stats left and right.
I'm a stats guy, man. I mean, look, I love entrepreneurs. I love small businesses. That's why I was drawn to your team, your YouTube page. Look, I've been in sales my whole life, my whole career. And I've sold some things that are difficult to sell, right? I can't tell you how much fun it is to be in this business because you're adding so much value and you're helping so many people with their business. I mean, just a 50% lower closure rate of small businesses that are in a PEO, and the fact that we help even more because we lower the cost more than shopping directly with a PEO. I mean, I feel like I found my true calling. And we're not just building a successful business here at PEO Metrics. We're helping other small businesses grow and thrive and bringing a real value-added offering to this space, man. When I sit in a room with entrepreneurs, I'm just energized. I love it. That's who I want to network with, and that's who I want to just help be successful. And that's what I do every day. I love this business.
Man, I want to end on that because it's a high note, but I had one more question.
All right, let's hear it.
So a lot of people that are going to watch this are going to be like people like me and you. They're agency owners. They are butts in seats. So workers' comp isn't a real big issue. But we've got lots of other guys that are in the field that are clients of ours and watch this channel. Roofers, contractors, all sorts in the trades, junk removal, detailing, everything in between. So people that are actively on their feet, on job sites, towing, you name it, they're in it. Walk me through PEO for workers' comp, because workers' comp could be a beast. Is there a way to save on workers' comp costs?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the same way to save on benefits administration. It's through the economies of scale of partnering with the PEO, right?
Okay.
And so, look, don't get me wrong. There are some PEOs that won't bring in, for example, a roofing company. They just won't write it. They won't, if it's a roofing company, PEO Metrics, we're not interested. Okay. But we know the businesses, the PEOs that have no problem partnering with folks that are out in the field that thrive. That's their business model, right? And they have hundreds of thousands of worksite employees. And because of that, you do benefit from the economies of scale, the savings. And, you know, we have to, like, I have to constantly challenge myself not to oversell this, but we typically see savings, workers' compensation in the 30 to 40% range, particularly in those high risk roles, right? Where they're just getting crushed by workers' compensation coverages, right? Charges and fees. And so when we take them from their 50 or 100 or 25 person business and enter them into hundreds of thousands of persons workers' compensation risk pool, yeah, we see significant savings in the 30 to 40% range across the board with the PEOs that we partner with. That's a huge savings driver as we're going through this process.
Awesome. Okay. That's good to know. All right. We're going to wrap up here. What I will do is I will drop a link in the description. If anyone wants to reach out to Chris and talk PEO and get some quotes, the link will be in there. Fill it out. He'll ask some questions and then you guys will connect from there. Chris, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend. You're doing God's work. Thank you for you and ClicksGeek. Everything you guys do for businesses, man. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.